Hey, the Mad Hermit here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make crazy money in Shroud of the Avatar Pre-Alpha Release 3. Now, if you've seen my guide to Pre-Alpha Release 3, you'll know that you can get clothes by going into single-player mode and looting all the chests, and they'll all be full with everything that you need. But if you really want to pimp up your ride and go from this to this, you're going to have to make some money. You start off with 100 gold, and that's great. You're going to be able to buy a torch and, a few rounds of ale. But if you want to buy that epic full plate armor set, you're going to have to get some coin. And unfortunately, the goodies that you find in the chests around town are not really sellable. And what I mean by that is the merchants around town are pretty much going to give you a giant goose egg for anything you picked up. So to remedy that, you're going to have to make something, and that's where crafting comes in. So you're going to want to log into single player mode and then head on over to the crafting stations where you're going to shake your moneymaker and make products worth buying. Now, single player mode is important because the chests here at the crafting pavilion are typically empty in multiplayer mode, so you're not going to even be able to collect the basic ingredients required to make the simplest of recipes. Now, there are plenty of things you can make here, and all will have value, but I find that a simple wall shelf will give you the best bang for the buck. You might find a better value proposition, but at 2 wooden boards to make a shelf, each shelf will net you 10 gold. It's not a bad deal. Once you've collected all your materials and all your tools, your first stop is going to be the milling station. At the milling station, we're going to open up our recipe book by hitting the R key, and then we're going to look for the milling section. And you're not necessarily going to have all the recipes here. You first have to find them and discover them, but I already have the wooden boards. I've discovered it, and if you double click on the wooden boards, it will plop down the cubit measure and the 1 wooden timber required to make the wooden board. Now, you can also make wooden boards by double clicking on the process wood entry in your recipe log, and that also creates some wooden boards as a byproduct. As you can see, the new interface is much more streamlined than we saw in Pre-Alpha Release 2, and once you have the recipe, you can pretty much turn into a factory and just double click and then hit craft and double click and hit craft and double click and hit craft. And the cool thing about that is you don't even have to hit the take all button. If you start crafting another thing, by default, automatically your avatar picks up what's on the table. Now, because wooden shelves require 2 wooden boards to craft, you're going to have to chop a lot of wood. So if you are doing the process wood recipe or the wooden board recipe, each of them yields 2 wooden boards. You're going to have to do it 100 times if you want to create 100 wooden shelves to net you 1,000 gold. Once you have all the wooden boards you need, head over to the carpentry table. Once again, open up your recipe book, hitting the R key, go to your carpentry section, and you're going to create a wall shelf. Now, I have this recipe in my book already, but if you don't, you're going to need the carpentry hammer and 2 wooden boards. And if you're in list mode, as I'm in, you're going to just double click on that wall shelf and hit craft, and you're going to do that like a crazy circus monkey. Keep in mind, this is Pre-Alpha Release 3, so this little strategy we have here is not going to hold any water when the game is finally released. Obviously, there'll be skill checks involved, there'll be failure, and flooding the market in this way will most likely reduce the value of that item to nothing. Once you're done making the desired number of shelves, you're going to leave the crafting station, head on over to Handak, and sell from inventory the 101 wall shelves that you made. In this case, that will net me 1,010 gold. You're going to sign for the exchange, and voila, just like that, you're rich. Well, I see no reason to let those bags of gold burn a hole in your pocket, so if you're looking for epic plate armor, you're going to want to see Merchant William in the town of Owl's Head. He's got what you need, and you have the cash he wants. Tell him the Mad Hermit sent you, and he'll probably just kick you out of his shop. It's really just a big misunderstanding. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you have questions or comments, leave them below, and I'll see you online.